My review on Goodreads literally says, LOL, that fucking epilogue. That's my review. Okay, so let's talk about the Burn for Burn trilogy. I just recently read Ashes to Ashes, which was the third and hopefully final book. They don't need to bring that shit back anymore. At this point, when I had started the series Burn for Burn, I had already read the Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy by Jenny Han, and I had read The List by Siobhan Vivian. Didn't enjoy The List, and I really fucking hated the last book of the Summer I Turned Pretty. So that should have been kind of a telling for how I was gonna go into this trilogy. It just got progressively worse. So the beginning of this is going to be non-spoilers. I will tell you when I'm going to get into spoilers. Hopefully I don't pop off before that. In the story, we have three main characters. We have Lilia, who is a cheerleader type, but like secretly doesn't really like the friends she has. And then there's Kat, who is kind of like the loner person of the town. Mary is a new girl who came back to Jar Island after she spent some time in like boarding school, I believe. About these three girls kind of like seeking revenge for something that happened in the past to Mary, and then it's all kind of just like centered around that. I want to say the main thing for me that really bothered me with all three of the books is that it took forever to get to the plot. I want to say in the first book it took over 100 pages to get anywhere, to even kind of like form this little revenge group. Thought I was gonna come into this book and be like, oh, these three already on the secret friends down low kind of thing, but no, they didn't even like really talk to each other. I'm gonna go into the individual books, say my overall feelings, and then move on. Burn for Burn, I felt like this one had a lot of things going on at once. It was all at the ending. The ending was like the cultivation of like everything. It was way too reminiscent of things that I have read and I have seen before. Definitely reminiscent of some movies involving supernatural things at a prom. Way too forced. Also with the revenge tactics that were going on in book one, I felt were really just cheesy, very generic. At the end of my Goodreads review for Burn, I said, I will probably read the second book just to see what they do with it, but I don't have any high hope. Fire with Fire was a chunky fucking book. Really addicting. I devoured it. I read it so quickly, and I have kind of forgotten a lot of it. The first part is really just kind of wrapping up the first book. I was reading and past page 100, I was like, are we going to get to the plot of what this book is about? A lot of stuff goes down with our three characters in this book. It's developing more as a series in the second book, and I felt like it was generally better than the first one. Ashes to Ashes. Read this one, I want to say like 2 weeks ago. I went into Ashes to Ashes thinking, this is it. This is gonna finish off the series. This is gonna tell us everything that I ever wanted to fucking know about the ending of this. They put in an epilogue as a way to wrap everything up, but it felt so rushed at the end that the epilogue just seemed like something that was placed there just to kind of appease certain fans. It kind of went into like an overview of what happened to everyone, and I hate epilogues like that because I just kind of want to imagine that my favorite character just kind of, you know, was happy forever and ever and had like a really good life and everything. But the epilogue ruined the entire series for me because it just felt so forced and so just kind of like fan service. This is the point in the video where I'm going to start get to more spoilery stuff from the entire trilogy. So if you haven't read all of them, or if you've read the first two and don't want to get spoiled, don't watch this part. But, you know, let me know your thoughts about the first two down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Let's talk spoilers. First book. I hate the Carrie White ripoff, sort of. It's obviously Carrie at the end of the first book. It's obviously that Carrie moment seen at the prom where shit goes fucking down. If they were gonna they're gonna channel that Carrie-esque moment. They needed to do it in a way that wasn't fucking the same thing as Carrie. Even in the second book, they mention Carrie White. They mention the fucking character that they're modeling Mary after, and that just doesn't mix well, because then you have it in your mind that this is a Carrie White ripoff. I felt like in the first book that the backstory with Lilia, kind of like the rape that happened like summers ago, I felt like it was totally underdeveloped, and I felt like it didn't need to be in the book if they weren't going to develop it in a way that was better in general. That was a big part of her and Rinny's sort of relationship, and why she wasn't really that close of friends with her, because that happened when they were together. And in the second book, when Lilia is going out with Reeve and she's like, oh my god, I'm having feelings for him, and then in the third book they're kind of just like in love, doesn't really make sense, because in the epilogue it turns out that Lilia is with Alex. Think with Lilia, the problem I had with her is that throughout this entire trilogy, we were building up to this relationship with Reeve. Second book, it really becomes alive, because that becomes sort of like the revenge plot in book 2. Book 3, it's they're together in a relationship, and it's all building up to this. Shit goes down with her and Mary, and, you know, she breaks up with him and all that junk. In the epilogue, Lilia decides that she is in love with Alex because he's always been there. But fucking in the entire 3 books of the trilogy, she was literally like, I see him only as a friend. He will never be anything more to me than a friend. And I understand feelings develop, and I understand people develop. In this small little fucking epilogue, things changed so much in like 2 months that she decided she was gonna go with Alex instead of Reeve. When we were building up to this entire thing with Reeve, it felt like an afterthought, which is really the thing that bothered me. It felt like they were trying to appease people who shipped Lilia and Alex because they were best friends through this entire thing. Kat was fucking non-existent in the third book. Her plot was dwindled down. Development with Reeve, kind of like us seeing the backstory of him at the time when Mary kind of did kill herself, and kind of like his reaction. I wanted more of that. We only saw little snippets of it because it was through Mary being able to see into his dreams. That was kind of fucked up, the way Mary kind of manipulated Lilia into breaking up with Reeve, but then Mary never had the guts to actually fucking kill Reeve, because if I was a ghost, I wouldn't give a shit and I would just kill someone. If I was a ghost, you know, hypothetically speaking. I have so much gripe with the third book because I felt like it disappointed me the most, because the ending was super lackluster and the epilogue just ruined every single thing that this was kind of building up to. Let me know in the comments if you've read the series or if you've read any of it, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. It's 15 hours. Today I'm going to be doing my May wrap-up, which is basically just me wrapping up what I've done on my channel, what books that I've read, but not going into any details, and talking to you about my favorites.